Bum, 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 bum. Welcome back, my friends. This is BjjBrick Quick. This is your quick jiu-jitsu podcast. Next few episodes here, we're talking about pressure. Today, I'm going to tell you about my first time really experiencing pressure, the style of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I had been training, I think, well into blue belt, maybe, I don't know, maybe even a little bit further. And sure, I had experienced pressure before with people who were heavier than me or stronger than me would smash me, and it would be very uncomfortable. That's part of jiu-jitsu. But back then, so I started jiu-jitsu in 2002. And here in Wichita, Kansas, we didn't play a real high-pressure game as far as, applying pressure to your training partners or opponents. All I was ever really told all the way probably past blue belt is be on your toes. And that way you're kind of leaning onto somebody. If you're on side control, get on your toes, get off your knees. And that way you'll apply pressure to somebody. Well, I think I was a purple belt when I first met a guy named Renato Tavares. And that was a pretty fun experience. I don't know how tall Renato is. He is significantly shorter than me. And he weighed less than me. But the other thing he was really good at jiu-jitsu. And so I was either a blue belt or a purple belt, and I got to roll with him and experience that. And in the process of rolling, Renato was light years ahead of me, is in jiu-jitsu, and he passed my guard, ended up in side control, and he started applying pressure to me. And I started to struggle. And I remember thinking, this isn't real. There's no way this man who his frame is so much smaller than mine. Not that I was a big guy, but he was shorter. Hanato's a fit guy, but he got side control, and he must have had either my face covered with my gi, or maybe he had a little bit of pressure on my jaw to where I was turned away and I couldn't really see either. But most of the pressure was on my chest and my lungs and my ribs. And I remember thinking, they're playing a joke on me. I thought that maybe somebody else, this is really what I thought. I remember this because this is such a weird thing. I thought somebody else was pushing down on Hanato's back to give him an extra 150 or 200 pounds of pressure that would apply to me. I'm like, this is not real. But I was in shock that this was happening to me. And I don't remember if I tapped from this pressure or not. Either way, it was, I don't know. I don't remember that. I remember this isn't real. And the reason why I say maybe I tapped is because when he stopped, I looked up and there was nobody pushing down on Renato, adding weight to him. And I was like, what? What happened? I didn't even know. It's like I didn't even know that a choke was a thing, and suddenly I get choked. I spent all my, I didn't, but I spent all my time boxing or wrestling, and suddenly I'm getting choked, and I didn't even know that was a possibility. I didn't even know that somebody could apply that much pressure to me. And so the shock of it was just him, just his body weight, his strength, his compression applied that much pressure to me. That was impressive. It took me a lot more time to develop any resemblance of applying pressure like this that wasn't just my weight. Tomorrow we're going to talk about applying pressure that's not necessarily your weight in the side control position. This is kind of what Renato, and it would be nice, I've interviewed Renato back in the day, but on this podcast, but it would be nice to do that again and see what details he could add, because my current coach's coach, Andre Montero. He doesn't live here in Wichita, but he comes into town a couple times a year. He does the same thing. He could apply a ton of pressure. He is significantly lighter than me. He's not as muscular as Renato. So I'd imagine, I don't know who weighs more. It doesn't really matter. At this point, they apply pressure that is far beyond the reach of what they should be able to apply unless you're adding a ton of technique. We're talking about that next time. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please support it. It helps keep the show going. The more momentum we have behind this, the better it should be, I would imagine. And I want to continue to do this, but it's got to be, got to have a little bit of a push from you guys, you know. Go to Patreon, go to BjjBrick.com, and there's a link to Patreon, or you can search for BjjBrick on the Patreon website, and we'll pop up. And you can support us per month. That really means a lot to me. I hope you have a great day, my friend. Avoid the pressure if you're receiving this. And think about what's happening tomorrow as we talk about how to apply this kind of pressure. Stay sweaty, my friend.